You know, there's a question I've been hearing a lot lately from friends and viewers like you. Is it even possible to learn a new language after 70? Maybe you've asked yourself the same thing. Maybe you've thought, my memory isn't what it used to be. Or, I tried learning French in high school and gave up. How could I possibly do it now? Let me tell you something. Those doubts? They're just stories we tell ourselves. And today, we're going to rewrite that story. Because here's the truth. Learning a language later in life isn't just possible. It's easier than you think. In fact, your age might just be your greatest advantage. Think about it. You've got decades of life experience, patience, and a deeper understanding of how you learn best. Plus, science tells us that our brains stay flexible far longer than we once believed. It's called neuroplasticity, and it means your brain is still ready and eager to grow, no matter the number on your birthday cake. Now, I'm not saying you need to cram grammar books or memorize verb charts like you're back in school. That's the old way of learning. Today, we're going to talk about the fun way, the kind of learning that feels less like work and more like play. Over the course of this video, I'll share 3 joyful, stress-free methods to start speaking a new language. And I promise, you'll be surprised how quickly you can pick it up. Let's start with the first method, and it's one you might not expect. Music. That's right. Songs aren't just for dancing or reminiscing. They're a secret weapon for language learners. Think about it. When you were young, how did you learn the alphabet? Through a song. How do you still remember every word of your favorite Beatles or Elvis track? Because melody and rhythm make words stick. So here's what I want you to try. Pick a language you've always loved the sound of. Maybe Italian, with its musical lilt, or Spanish, with its warm, rolling rhythms. Find a simple, catchy song in that language. It could be a classic love ballad, a folk tune, or even a children's song. They're designed to teach, after all. Look up the lyrics online. Most are free to find, and read along as you listen. Don't worry about understanding every word at first. Just let the sounds wash over you. Sing along if you feel bold, even if it's just humming. Before long, you'll notice something magical. Phrases will start to leap out at you. Buenos dias in a Spanish song, Je t'aime in a French melody. These little fragments are your first building blocks. And the best part? You're not studying. You're just enjoying music, while your brain quietly soaks up the language. Now, let's move to the second method. And this one's all about connection. Conversation starters. I know what you're thinking, but I don't know anyone who speaks insert language here. Here's the trick. You don't need to book a flight to Rome or host a foreign exchange student. You just need a few simple phrases and the courage to use them. Start with something you'd say every day. If you love gardening, learn how to say, "Your roses are beautiful," in Japanese. If you're a coffee enthusiast, master, "I'd like a black coffee, please," in Italian. Write these phrases down on sticky notes and put them where you'll see them, on the fridge, by the coffee maker, or even on the TV remote. Then, practice saying them out loud, to yourself, to your pet, or to a family member, even if they laugh. Here's why this works. Language isn't just about words, it's about people. When you learn phrases tied to your hobbies or daily life, they feel meaningful. And when you finally use them, say, complimenting a neighbor's garden in Spanish or ordering tea in Mandarin at a local cafe, you'll feel a spark of confidence. That spark, it'll fuel you to keep going. And here's a little bonus. Technology is on your side. There are free apps and websites where you can chat with native speakers around the world, right from your living room. But we'll circle back to that later. For now, keep it simple. Pick 3 phrases that light you up, and let those be your gateway. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but what if I forget? What if I embarrass myself? Let me ask you this. When's the last time you judged someone for trying to speak your language? When a tourist struggles with hello or thank you, don't you just feel delighted they made the effort? The world will meet you with that same kindness. Mistakes aren't failures. They're proof you're trying. So there you have it. 2 joyful ways to dip your toes into a new language. No textbooks required. But before we go further, I want to pause and ask, does this feel doable? I bet it does. Because learning isn't about perfection. It's about curiosity. And curiosity, that's ageless. Now, imagine combining these methods. Picture yourself humming a Portuguese fado tune while stirring a pot of soup, then surprising your grandchild with a bon appetit at dinner, or walking through the park, greeting fellow dog walkers with a cheerful buongiorno, just to see them smile. That's the beauty of this approach. It's not about fluency overnight. It's about sprinkling your days with tiny, delightful moments of connection. And guess what? We're just getting started. Because the third method I have for you, it's going to tie everything together in a way that'll make you think, why didn't I try this sooner? But for now, let's take a breath. You've already got 2 powerful tools in your pocket, music and conversation starters. So why not pick one and give it a try today? Remember, this isn't a race, it's an adventure. And the best adventures are the ones we take at our own pace. So go on. Play that Spanish guitar ballad while you fold laundry, or practice saying grazie instead of thank you when someone holds the door. Little by little, you'll surprise yourself. And before you know it, we'll be ready to take the next step, together. You know, it's funny. When I first started learning Spanish in my late 60s, I'll admit, I felt a little silly talking to my cat in another language. ¿Dónde está tu pelota, señor Whiskers? But here's the thing. Those playful moments, humming tunes, and fumbling through phrases, they laid the groundwork for something bigger. And that's where our third method comes in, the one that ties all the pieces together. Let's call it everyday adventures. Now, don't let the word adventure intimidate you. We're not talking about backpacking through the Andes or decoding ancient hieroglyphics. An everyday adventure is simply about weaving your new language into the tiny, ordinary moments of your life and finding joy in the process. Here's how it works. Think of your daily routine, making breakfast, watering plants, watching the news, or even scrolling through photos of your grandkids. Each of these moments is a chance to sprinkle in a bit of language practice. For example, if you're brewing your morning coffee, why not label the jar "You Café" with a sticky note? Or when you're savoring that first sip, say to yourself, "This coffee is delicious." In German, "Dieser Kaffee ist köstlich." It doesn't have to be perfect, just playful. The magic here is in repetition. When you attach new words to actions you do every day, they stick. Think of it like learning to dance. You start with a single step, then add another, and soon you're moving without even thinking about it. Before long, you'll glance at that cafe label and realize you don't need it anymore. The word has become part of your world. But let's take it a step further. Remember those conversation starters we talked about? Let's pair them with something you already love. Say you're a crossword puzzle fan. Why not try one in your target language? Start small. Look up the word for across or down in French, or find a puzzle themed around food if you're a cooking enthusiast. Or maybe you love classic films. Watch Casablanca again, but this time, turn on Spanish subtitles. You'll be amazed how much you recognize once you've got a few phrases under your belt. And here's where technology becomes your friend, not your foe. There are apps designed like games where you match words to pictures, or even voice-controlled tools that let you chat with a friendly virtual assistant. One viewer told me she practices Italian with her smart speaker every morning while making oatmeal. She asks it about the weather in Rome, or how to say sunrise in Italian. Alba. Some days, she laughs when the device mishears her, but she always learns something new. The key is to keep it light. This isn't about cramming for a test. It's about curiosity. For instance, if you're gardening, look up the names of your flowers in Swedish. If you're knitting, learn how to say soft yarn in Japanese. Fuwa ito. These words might seem random, but they're yours. They're tied to what you already enjoy, which makes them easier and more delightful to remember. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what if I get stuck? What if I can't find the right word? Let me share a secret. Even fluent speakers forget words sometimes. The difference is, they don't let it stop them. They gesture, they describe, they laugh it off. My friend Carlos, who learned English in his 70s, once forgot the word for gloves during a snowy walk. He held up his hands and said, "Hand socks." Everyone knew exactly what he meant, and now they call them hand socks too. That's the beauty of language. It's alive. It bends, it adapts, it connects. And when you approach it as an adventure, not a chore, you take the pressure off. Every misstep becomes a story. Every new word feels like a victory. So, let's tie this all together. You've got music filling your home with melody and meaning. You've got those conversation starters ready to spark joy, or a good laugh. And now, you've got everyday adventures turning routine into discovery. But here's the best part. These methods don't just teach you a language. They remind you how vibrant life can be when you let yourself explore, experiment, and embrace the little surprises. Imagine this. A week from now, you're at the grocery store and you spot a label in the international aisle. Without thinking, you read it aloud. Pasta. Ah, that's Italian. Or you're watching a travel show, and when the host says bon appetit, you smile because you've been saying it to your cat for days. These moments might feel small, but they're proof. Proof that your brain is growing, that your world is expanding, and that age is no match for curiosity. And guess what? You're not alone. There's a whole community of learners just like you. People who started later in life and are now swapping stories, recipes, and jokes in languages they once thought were out of reach. So why not join them? Whether it's a local class at the community center, an online group, or even a pen pal from across the globe, connection is out there waiting. But here's my challenge to you. Today, pick one tiny adventure. Label your teacup, rename your garden tools, or tell your dog she's très élégante in her new sweater. Then tomorrow, do it again and again. Because bit by bit, those tiny adventures add up to confidence, to joy, and to a life that feels a little bigger, a little brighter than it did before. You've already taken the hardest step, starting. So let's keep that momentum going. Because up next, we're going to talk about how to celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and turn those hand-sock moments into a lifetime of laughter and learning. But for now, go on. Find that sticky note, pick up that crossword, or cue up that Italian love song. Your adventure is just beginning. Let me tell you a story about my neighbor Margaret. She's 78, took up German 2 years ago, and last month she mailed her first letter to a cousin in Munich, entirely in German. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. There were scribbled out words, question marks in the margins, and a postscript that read, "Forgive the grammar, but my heart's in the right place." When her cousin wrote back, the reply was filled with joy, gratitude, and a promise to keep writing. Margaret's secret? She didn't aim for perfection. She aimed for connection. And that, my friends, is where the real magic happens. You see, learning a language isn't about memorizing every rule or sounding like a local news anchor. It's about those moments that make your heart skip a beat. The first time you read a street sign and understand it, or the thrill of hearing a familiar word in a foreign film. It's about the laughter when you accidentally order pickled squid instead of grilled chicken, and the kindness of a stranger who helps you get it right. These aren't just milestones. They're proof that you're alive, growing, and embracing the world with open arms. So, how do you keep that momentum going? Let's talk about celebration. Not the confetti and balloons kind, though you're welcome to throw yourself a party, but the quiet, daily recognition that you're doing something extraordinary. Every time you hum along to a Portuguese ballad, every time you greet your neighbor with a cheerful hola, every time you scribble fromage on the cheese drawer, you're winning. And those wins deserve to be noticed. Here's a simple trick. Keep a joy journal. It doesn't have to be fancy. A notebook, a scrap of paper, even the Notes app on your phone. At the end of each day, jot down one language-related moment that made you smile. Maybe you finally nailed the pronunciation of grazie, or your grandchild giggled when you called their stuffed bear oso instead of Teddy. Over time, this journal becomes a treasure chest of proof. Proof that you're capable, curious, and courageously stepping outside your comfort zone. And don't underestimate the power of sharing those wins. Tell your book club about the Italian proverb you learned. Teach your yoga group how to say breathe in Sanskrit, shvasa. When you share your journey, you invite others to cheer you on. And who knows, you might inspire someone to start their own adventure. Margaret's German letters? They sparked a pen pal circle in our retirement community. Now, 6 of them trade postcards in broken but beautiful German, French, and even a little Welsh. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Plateaus. There will be days when progress feels slow. Days when the words jumble, the accents frustrate, and you think, why am I even doing this? That's normal. That's human. But here's what I want you to remember. Plateaus aren't roadblocks. They're resting spots. Think of them like hiking up a mountain. You pause, catch your breath, and realize how far you've already climbed. So, if you hit a plateau, lean into the methods that bring you joy. Revisit that catchy Spanish song you love. Reward yourself with a foreign film, subtitled in your native language. Or simply take a day off. Trust that your brain is still working behind the scenes, piecing together the puzzle. And if doubt creeps in, remember this. Your age isn't a limitation. It's a superpower. You've lived a life full of stories, problem-solving, and resilience. You know how to weather storms and savor slow, steady progress. That's exactly what language learning requires. Unlike a teenager cramming for an exam, you're not in a hurry. You're here for the richness of the journey, not just the destination. So, let's tie this all together. You've got music to dance with, conversation starters to spark connection, and everyday adventures to turn the mundane into magic. You've got a joy journal to celebrate your wins and a community, whether near or far, to share them with. The only thing left? To keep going. One sticky note, one silly mistake, one heartfelt thank you in a new language at a time. Before we say goodbye, I want you to do something for me. Take a deep breath, put your hand over your heart, and say this out loud. I am a lifelong learner. Feel that? That's your brilliant, adaptable brain and your brave, curious heart agreeing with you. You were never too old to start. You were never too late. You were always exactly where you needed to be, ready to begin. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one word or phrase you've learned recently? Or share a funny handsock moment that made you laugh. Let's build a community right here of fearless language adventurers, because there's nothing more inspiring than knowing we're in this together. If this video brought you a little hope or a smile, hit the like button so others can find it too. And if you're not subscribed, well, what are you waiting for? Join our growing family of vibrant, curious souls who believe it's never too late to learn, grow, and sprinkle a little magic into everyday life. As for me, I'll be raising my teacup to you tonight. Salut in French, Prost in German, Kanpai in Japanese. However you say it, here's to you. Here's to new words, new connections, and a life that keeps expanding. One joyful step at a time. Keep shining.